Hey, welcome back everybody. In this video, we've already repaired our paint and body work that was damaged. Did that in the last video. So in this one, I'm going to show everybody how to put your bodywork back on and also replace the narrow trail flares with the wider S flares. The combination with the flares and the wheels looks a little goofy right now because I still have the stock trail tires and wheels on. I do have 1.5-inch spacers, but the tires and wheels do not have any offset on them. So I do have new tires and rims that are 14-inch, they're taller, and they do have offset, which will fill out the wheel wells almost to the extent of a 60-inch. Not quite. I'm going to be about 1 inch narrower on either side, and that's okay. I'll take that. So I'll show you how to do that. It shouldn't take too long. It's not very hard, and just follow along. So here's the passenger side. I already assembled the drivers, obviously. Here's the passenger side bodywork. Repaired. This is the one that was all flaked off 3/4 way up the paint. So it's all repaired, nice and shiny. It's been drying now for about a week. I have my flare that I bought. I bought all 4 flares from Polaris. I didn't get the flare kit just because for some strange reason they were out of stock on the flare kit, which is just 4 S flares to put on the trail, and it comes with the push pins. But they weren't out of stock of the actual flares, so I don't know what the deal was, whether they just put together packages and didn't want to separate them. I don't know. So rather than wait 6 weeks for the flare kits to become available, I just ordered 4 separate flares from a RZR S, a 2016 900S. And it's funny because the parts person says, oh, they're a different machine, they're not going to fit. Well, they do. I wish they kind of knew their machines a little more. The bodywork and everything's identical except for the flares and the wider A-arms and suspension. The XPs are different, totally different at the back, but the S's are the same. So anyways, these are the flares. In case you're wondering, I think they were about $60 to $75 Canadian each. So not too bad and well worth it. It'll make the machine look much more aggressive. It'll keep the mud off. In the video after this, I'm going to do the front flares. I'll show you how that's done. So right now we're going to get started. I got to just put the phone down for a second and get things ready. So as you've noticed, I've set up my sawhorses just with a piece of wood on top and an old bed sheet that the wife let me confiscate from the house to protect the paint. So my bodywork is sitting currently, upside down, paint side down right now. The flare sits inside like this. So these tabs here, ones I was telling you about before, they just fit up into these little slots. So this thing clips down in. The only part you have to be careful about is there is somewhere, I think you have to just make sure that this is over top. There was something you had to make sure was over top. What was it? I wish I could really hold this and show you guys how to do it, but I can't. So anyways, you want to sit the flare inside the bodywork. You clip it on. Once it clips, these tabs will snap into the spot in the flare. And then there's 4 spots for push pins. There's one here. Push pin goes through. Another one here. Push pin holds on. And the third push pin is right here. And that goes in this hole here. And that's basically all that holds the flare to the bodywork. Once the bodywork is mounted on the RZR, it's kind of, the flare is squished between the bodywork and the RZR, so it can't go anywhere. But to hold it onto the fender itself is just, it clips on, snaps on, and then those 3 push pins. Okay, I'll do that now and then we'll move on. All right, so the flare is snapped in place right now. So these tabs clip up in, you just push it in. The driver's side, when I did it, clipped on quite effortlessly. This one I had to work on it a little bit. Of course, my heater just kicked on. Just give me 1 second here. This one took a little more effort. It wasn't a 2-person job by any means, but I had to give it a little bit of a squeeze with my hands. So now we're going to put in the push pins. And they're the ones that, if you remember, we labeled in baggies so we wouldn't lose them. There they are. Now these ones are a little bit dirty. Doesn't matter, you're not going to ever see them again unless you go through all this again. And these are simple. Just make sure the pin is pulled out. So this pin shoves into this housing. Make sure it's pulled out. You take the pin, So much easier to do with 2 hands, but I want to try to show everybody how it's done. Clips in like that, okay? And then to lock it, you simply push the pin in. There, it's locked. That flare's not going anywhere now. I'm going to do the other 2. This one right here, and this one right here. And then we'll get to installing the fender and the flare on the vehicle. So on this side, I've taken the door off just to make it easier to show how the fender goes on. You don't need to take the door off, okay? It's a little bit of a tight fit down here. There's only, I think, about a 1/4 inch of clearance between the fender and the door, as you can see down here. But it doesn't hit. You don't need to take it off. It just makes life easier for purposes of the video. So it's very straightforward putting on the rear fender. The only tricky part that I found that threw me off for about 30 seconds was right here. There was a little hook. It's like that, and it slides over there on the fender flare, or sorry, on the rear fender. So what I did the first time on the other side, I snapped all these in, bang, bang, bang. Thought I was going to come up here, and it was sticking out. And the reason was that hook was out here. It needs to go in behind, okay? So when you're putting on the rear fender, that hook clicks in behind first. It just slides like this, like a V, slides up in, and it holds it. And then you move forward to the front. So that's why I always do one side first, then I video the second, so I can show you all these little tips and tricks. You don't need to see my mistakes along the run. Okay, so we're gonna grab the fender now, and we're gonna snap her on. Okay, we're gonna try this. I have the camera propped up. We'll see if we can show you where it clips in here and down here. So here's the unit. There's the little clip I was talking about. Okay, that little slot right there fits up in here. So gently, clip that in. See, it's on there now. This just slides in. There, heard it click. It's in there now. Now there's a bolt, it goes here. You remember the one inside the bed? Squeeze it here. One bolt up here, bolt here, bolt here. There's also push pins. One push pin here. And on the factory trail flares, there was only one push pin right here. No, you can't see it, but there's one there. On the wider S flares, there's 2 pins. So you can get away with using one. Otherwise, just grab another pin and put it in there. And like I say, I had lots. You can get them at any your dealership will have them and probably charge you about $3 a piece, or you can go to Napa or any place like that and you can get a pack of 6 of them for like $2 and have some spares. So I'm going to go ahead and bolt this on now. Well, you know what, I can do it while we're videoing here. It's not the end of the world. A little pack of bolts that I kept nice and neat so I wouldn't lose everything, and my push pins and everything are here. What I do, I'm kind of funny this way, I sort my bolts. Some of them are going to be a little scuffed up just from getting wear and tear and mud and stuff. I try to put the dirtier ones where I'm not going to see them, like in there. You're never going to see that one in there again. So one like this that's a little bit scuffed up, put it in here. Now, even though these bolts are going into metal clips, you don't need to really torque them down tight. Just snug them down. You don't want them falling out, but you can snap that clip off pretty easy as well. The clip just clips over top of the plastic. I think I showed you guys before. These two, I'm not as picky about how they look. They get hidden by the panel that came with the lower doors. They are a little bit trickier to get screwed in though, and they're in a funny place. That one you can't get an extension. If you were just putting stock decals back on, you could have put the decals on before you bolted it to the machine. I didn't really see a point in that. At least with it bolted to the machine, I don't have to worry about parts flopping around on a table or a bench. And the way I'm doing my graphics, they're all going to be incorporated like a scheme. So I have to put all the graphics on once it's bolted together, otherwise I'm going to risk them not lining up with the doors and so on. So like I say, one push pin down here, in, push, done. And I've already got an extra one here. Bottom. If these ever come apart, they just shove back in. No big deal. There we go. She's attached. All I need to do now is to put my little grill back in here with the two screws. There's the screws there. They're just little Torx screws. And the bodywork is done on this side. In the next video, I'll show you how to do the front flares. Thanks for watching. See ya.